Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I'm here today to discuss All American Season 8, Episode 5, called The Truth. Y'all, now that's what you call when it hit the fan, okay? Ooh. I know I come on here every week and say I don't know where to begin, but truly this time, I'm going to try to get everything out so I won't be before you long, but we start off with a flashback with KJ trying to plead his case to Tori. And it's 3 days, before the showcase. Ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. Ooh, that came out of nowhere. It's 3 days before the showcase. And so we see that, Tori is trying to talk to KJ, but KJ ain't trying to hear it. He say, I've been trying to talk to you for days. Then the flashback is over with. So let's just talk. Okay, so Cassius. At this point, Cassius is desperate because he knows that his job is on the line. And there's this guy who was around named Mosley, whatever. He was around back in the day when Billy was the coach at Beverly. And so what I'm thinking is happening is I'm thinking that for some reason, unbeknownst to us, he was let go as a booster. And the boosters, I guess, are in control of the principal, but I just don't understand that dynamic. I really don't. How can somebody who don't work at the school but is giving the school money tell the principal what to do? Or, you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, so he's a booster. He's been, reinstated as a booster. Apparently he didn't like Billy, so he doesn't like Jordan. And so he walked in the hallway and saw Jordan looking at the case where his jersey was at and asked Jordan, was he trying to relive his glory days? And I'm just like, okay, I don't even like your tone, sir. But that's before they showed the flashback. And so after they showed the flashback, I'm like, oh, All America has been on TV for so long. Sometimes, you don't remember every little intricate detail. But when that flashback came back and I saw him, I was like, oh, okay. And I think he also was the one who led to Billy leaving Beverly and coming back and going back to Crenshaw. So it's just the fact that, this guy is just in the way. And so he's on Cassius' side. And, of course, Cassius needs an ally at this time. Jordan has tried to meet up front and honest with Cassius because he is taking into account their relationship. Jordan is still considering the position at Beverly, but he hasn't completely made up his mind yet because he honestly doesn't know what to do because he's conflicted. And, we can all understand why he's conflicted because this is his alma mater, yes, but Cassius is his cousin and they just got back cool. And so he knows that this is going to affect not only the Crenshaw players who look up to him, but it's also going to affect, his relationship with Cassius or whatever, and then the team moving forward. And as we saw last week, the principal had a meeting with the players and was asking their opinions, and they all were basically on board with Jordan taking, the title as being the head coach. Jordan has not considered it or, given his final decision yet, but, all these rumblings are going around. And so, as we know, KJ looked up to Jordan at one point in time. And so at this point, he's devastated, of course, because he looked up to Jordan. And he's offended because he's just like, after all my dad did for you and my dad saved your life, you trying to take his job? You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole lot going on. We still have not seen Cassius tell Ava what exactly has gone down. But all the while, all this stuff is bubbling between Tori, KJ, Khalil, and Amina. As we know last week, Amina and Khalil had a very big blow up again. And then there was some kind of tension between Tori and Amina. Amina definitely went and told a half-truth to Tori's face. And then Tori ended up seeing, KJ and Amina speaking in the hallway, which is what we, of course, saw last time. And so Tori texts Khalil basically and tells Khalil to meet her somewhere. Meanwhile, Khalil is having a meeting with his parents because, as we know, last time we saw them, his dad basically kind of, manipulated him a little bit, and his mom showed up. As we know, and we still don't know, that Khalil's mom left, but we don't know to the extent of the story. You know what I mean? So Khalil is there with his mama and his daddy, briefly meeting with them at the hangout, and he's trying to figure out what's bringing their mama back around so much. And she apologized for, leaving, but Khalil wasn't really trying to hear it. So then on the flip side, like I said, Khalil goes to go meet Tori, and, Tori is telling, Khalil, like, something definitely has happened between KJ and Amina. KJ and Amina were talking. He used some kind of phrase that's relative to her school. She used that same phrase. She was like, but, I have proof or whatever. And so Khalil was like, what happened? And so basically she told Khalil the story. He was like, that's not really proof. He was like, you trying to accuse somebody of cheating dang near. So you got to have proof that X, Y, and Z really went on between the two. And so she really didn't have a case. But you could tell when she stepped to Khalil and tried to say, this is how close they were speaking. There was some kind of going on between them. So I'm just like, okay, so is this like the beginning of Khalil and Tori? Because I'm just like, obviously when she stepped to him, he felt some kind of way toward her. So I'm just like, okay, so they getting ready to set the scene up for Khalil and Tori. Got it. And so, or something's going to happen between Khalil and Tori, in the next couple episodes. But it's just the simple fact that, like, Khalil is starting to be Tori's go-to person. So the same way she got mad at KJ for confiding and always running to Amina, to me, she's kind of doing the same thing with Khalil, And Khalil used to run to KJ to try and find stuff out, about Amina. So it's just like, there's a whole lot going on, you know what I mean? So, all in all, as we figured out last episode, Layla asked Coop, how does she feel about her relationship with Brianna, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm so sorry. How she feels about her relationship with Brianna, and then if she's really happy. So Coop is trying to throw this dinner at the baker's house, right? And so Brianna's supposed to be bringing dinner. Jordan and Layla are setting up. They invited Preacher and Amina. So Preacher and Amina are at their home getting ready to come over. And Amina is trying to refuse to come over because at this point, she don't want to be around none of them. She don't really care for Brianna like that. Khalil, she ain't cool with Khalil like that. She know Khalil stay there with Jordan. So she don't want to be around or whatever. So eventually everybody shows up to the house. And then, Khalil and Amina are off to the side. And then some words are exchanged between Khalil and Amina. And the conversation goes left because she was just like, why? I don't even know why you want to know anything, Khalil, because I thought we wasn't friends. Meanwhile, at the other table where Jordan, Layla, Preach, and what's her name? Coop are doing. They keep having all this awkward back and forth conversation. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, they trying to feel Brianna out, but they also think that Brianna is kind of bougie a little bit. I mean, she probably used to be down to earth at one point, but now she ain't really down to earth like that no more. So it's just like, it doesn't seem to be going well. And Coop just wants everybody to have a good impression because she wants everybody to, like Brianna, of course. And Brianna's holding her ground. She doesn't seem to be phased at all. I don't know how necessarily I feel about Coop and Brianna. I really don't care about this whole storyline about will they, won't they, is they good enough for each other. I love Coop down, but I just didn't need another relationship storyline with Coop. I'm so sorry. And I don't care about this internship or none of that she got going on, but nonetheless. So yeah. So while everything's going awry, the doorbell rings and Cassius and KJ show up. And so it's already a pickle because, before that, Jordan did visit Cassius at the school to let Cassius know, hey, we still got to work on the showcase. I haven't made no decision. I just want you to know that, like, I came and I was honest with you. I was truthful with you. I came with you. I did X, Y, and Z with you. And so, Cassius and KJ tries to say something, or something is said, and Jordan, they were speaking about, actually, Preach brought it up first. Preach brought it up, and Jordan was like, hey, can you not say anything because Khalil doesn't know about the offer. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. So that's when Cassius and KJ then shows up, and there's tension. So Cassius sits at the table, and then Jordan goes to sit at the table with the children, and so they start arguing back and forth, and so it's just a mess because then KJ and Amina have this like weird interaction, and then Khalil peeps it, and so then he texts Tori and was like, maybe he was right. So then I'm just like, Khalil, not you hit the okie doke, friend. Not you hit the okie doke. So now guess who pops up a couple minutes later? Tori. And here she go. I came to bring something to Khalil. KJ, you here? What a total and complete surprise. And we were just like, girl. Everybody was like, girl. We know why you here. She said, KJ, I had no idea you was going to be here. So now, of course, Tori is over there. And anytime Tori is around Amina, it's static. They play frenemies all the time. They play nice nasty with each other all the time. So Tori was just like, so Amina, how's Dinsburg going? Or whatever, regardless of, what's going on. And so Amina is just, playing it cool, being copacetic. With her nerves, she's an anxious mess. Like, you can tell. Like, she's on edge. And so next thing you know, like, everything just start unraveling at the seams. It's like Preach comes over and he's yelling, and y'all know Preach is either very 0 or he's at 100. He came over 100. He fussing Amina out, calling Amina a liar. How the school called me and tell me we had a good conversation yesterday, boo-boo. So basically, Preach finds out about the article. He's furious. Okay, so now everybody's arguing, and it's like the camera is panning. It's like 5 different episodes going on at the same time. Tori and KJ are fussing. Amina and Preach are fussing. Preach is over there with Amina and Coop fussing. She's trying to defuse. Then she calls Brianna over there. Brianna goes over there. Jordan, Cassius, and KJ are fussing. It's just everybody's fussing. And so then at one point, Preach was like, which one of y'all was the actor? Which one of y'all played Denzel, answered my phone, and was playing me? And then Jordan was like, I know it won't Khalil. Khalil would never do like that. And Cassius was like, it wasn't my son. He wouldn't do nothing. KJ, it was me. Dumb. I hollered. Because I'm just like, Cassius is over there saying, Lord have mercy. Tori about to go through the ringer, and I can't even defend my son because he done did something. So then Tori pulls up on her phone, right? Pictures of KJ at Dinsburg with Amina at the dance. And so she's like, oh, look, all of these. You never tell me anything about these. All of these. And then it's a picture of them like face-to-face real close. She was like, this one was my favorite. And then she was like, KJ, do you have anything to say for yourself? He was just like, it was an emergency. I mean, all these BS excuses. I'm just like, KJ, saying it was an emergency because she didn't have a date to dance is crazy game. That's crazy. You could at least say something else, twin. You ain't have to say it was an emergency. We know you going to no dance. Wasn't no emergency game. You should have just said, Amina called me. We was talking because I'm cool with her. I was already up there with my mama. I went to go visit her at school. She ain't had no day for the dance. I escorted her to the dance. That's it. That's all. That still would have been a lot, though. But you know what I'm saying? You could have cleaned it up a whole lot better game. But nonetheless. So then she was just like, so you mean to tell me it's nothing going on between y'all? And so KJ is insisting on talking to Tori in private. But at this point, it's too late. Tori gave KJ plenty of chances to talk to her in private. Tori has asked KJ multiple times, is anything going on with you and Amina? She has pretty much begged that boy to be honest with her, to be open with her, to communicate with her, to invite her in, be more vulnerable with her, let her into his life. And he always confided and went after Amina. But we can't be mad, though, because it's not like Tori didn't see the signs. You know what I mean? Like, as a woman, I'm not going to say that KJ went wrong, and I'm not going to say Amina was wrong because they were absolutely wrong. But at the same time, Tori, you been peeped that it was chemistry with them two from the get-go, sis. So you should have just walked away, and you could have avoided all of this if you would have just walked away. Cause you know how they was like, gang. You know how they was like. So anyway, then after Tori spills the beans and says all of that, Preach was like, well, Amina, what's going on? And so apparently Amina wrote an article about ICE coming to her school and taking one of the custodians, and he had to, he was taken. And so she said that the school asked her not to publish the article, but she published it anonymously anyway. And so there was a lot of like back and forth. And so Preach is basically along the lines of, I want you to apologize so you can get back in Dinsburg because you don't understand what kind of opportunity you're messing up. But Amina says she down for the people, and she always are, repping for the less fortunate and the underserved. She said, and he didn't deserve that. He had a life here, he was deserving or whatever like that. And she stood up for what she believed in. Coop was on Amina's side pretty much and was just like, you know what, she stood up for what she believed in. And I don't necessarily think I don't necessarily think Preach had an issue with Amina, writing an article and, the whole getting kicked out of, okay, he was mad at that. But I'm saying the overarching thing that he kept repeating was that she lied. Days and days went by where he kept saying stuff to her, asking her, and you're home. And he's asking you, and you're not telling him the truth. And so at that point, it was pretty much raps for Amina because, all of this could have been avoided. And Amina kept saying to Preach, I wanted to tell you over the course of days, I plan on telling you today, but then it just didn't work out. He was just like, but you had plenty of other times to tell me, he bought her that laptop. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, Layla got tired of all of it. And she did what any good woman's supposed to do. Quiet in my home. Y'all got too much going on. Everybody go to their respective corners. I'm not playing with y'all. I don't know what kind of spirit of confusion y'all trying to bring up in here, but you got to go. Everybody to their corner. Now. I say yes with your mommy voice, girl. You better let them know not to be playing with you and causing all this traffic confusion in your house, girl. Because that's exactly what was going on. And sometimes you got to rebuke the devourer and he will flee. Because, like, what y'all got going on for real? Y'all tearing her nerves up. All this was supposed to be was a nice evening full of dinner, conversation and vibes, and it has turned into total chaos, and she won't have it. And so then it's just like at the same time, Khalil is mad because he's just like, so tell me if you going to Beverly, gang, is you gonna take me? And so then Cassius was like, well, have you taken a job? And then Jordan was like, no. And then they was just like, well. And so then Jordan was like, okay, so basically, if you get in bed with Mosley, Cassius, does that mean like, bump everything we've been to and all the growth we made? And he was just like, I don't know. And so Cassius is trying to decide on whether he should look out for himself or if he should look out for, what Jordan is saying because Jordan wouldn't turn back on him. Honestly, I don't think that Jordan is going to end up taking a job at Beverly. I can't see that happening. But, who knows? I don't know. But it's just the fact, like, this episode was absolutely messy, absolutely chaotic. And if I was sitting at the table, I would have been on my Safari flow at, like Safari was that episode when they was arguing back and forth on Love and Hip Hop and he was eating that salad. Hello, what's going on with y'all? What y'all got going on over here? For real. But yeah, y'all. What else did y'all like about this episode? All in all, I think, Preach ended up having a conversation with Amina. And, he was just like, I wish you would have come to me and tell me about the article. He felt betrayed. And he was like, I thought we trust each other or whatever. But this also is a teaching moment for Preach. Because, even though Amina lied to him or tried to drag the situation out, he had to learn to, through his anger, take his anger out and try to hear her out and listen to her as a person and see what point it was she was trying to make. And I know sometimes, people get disappointed in their children. But sometimes, there's just nothing the conversation can't fix. Now, I do absolutely agree with him putting her on punishment because she should. He was like, you're not leaving the house without me. And I was like, that's fair game because, you know, she did a lot. But now we got to figure out if Amina going to go back to dance and she going to send her a letter and apologize because it don't sound like she is. Or if she going to just re-enroll back in Crenshaw because that's also what it may give. So, I was glad, though, that Coop was the voice of reason and tried to, like, talk to Preach and, you know, like, calm him down because even though he was furious because, you know, Amina went through a lot to try to cover up this lie, y'all. She done denied phone calls. She got somebody to, you know, basically fake that they talked to him. You know, she kept getting rid of the emails. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much that could have been done to help her situation. But, you know, kids do dumb things. And, you know, moments like this help to shape an individual on how to better handle adversity. So, all in all, the truth has come out. So now we have to see what's the aftermath of all this truth. Also, one last thing I forgot to mention. After that whole thing went down with Jordan Baker, Khalil went and met with his parents after he was refusing to meet with them in the beginning of the episode. And I'm just like, what is this going to bring about? Because I never trusted Khalil's daddy. It always get manipulative. And he was never on what was best for Khalil. It was what he best wanted for himself and how Khalil could help him out. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out and if Jordan is going to reach back out to Khalil or if Khalil is even going to listen to what Jordan was saying. Because there was a point where there was a small stint of time within the discourse where Jordan was like, you know, Khalil, I don't want you to... Because Khalil is basically, you know, you already have a hard time trusting people. So it's looking like Jordan lied to him when Jordan didn't lie, but he wasn't completely upfront with Khalil about it because he hadn't made no decision. And, you know, I kind of understand Jordan on that aspect because it's just like, you know, you got this big decision, but that's the things that is affecting his decision. It's people like Khalil because he has grown his bond with Khalil. He has invested his time with Khalil. Khalil is basically opened up his heart and been vulnerable with Jordan, and have trusted him to now where it's just like, oh my God, I feel like I've been betrayed. So it's just like, what's going to go on? So yeah, y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of episode 5. And I'll be back next week with episode 6. Deuces.